Dave Palumbo here with an RX Muscle news update. George the Bull Peterson has announced that he will indeed be switching from Classic Physique up to the 212 division in 2020. A lot of people have been speculating for over a year about this, especially after that controversial Arnold Classic win. And when I say controversial, I think he clearly won the show, but obviously a lot of people felt that maybe he wasn't classic enough to win that show. And the debate started after that. This past Olympia, he finished third for the third straight year in a row. And a lot of people were saying, hey, this was, and myself included, this is the best George Peterson we've ever seen. How can he possibly not win the Olympia looking like he does? Well, the answer came when I interviewed head judge Steve Weinberger yesterday on the show, and Steve basically said that, George looks like a bodybuilder. He doesn't look like a classic physique guy. And he defined classic, as a small waist with that flow and the wide shoulders and the classic lines. And George has tremendous conditioning. He's got tremendous size. He fits into the weight class, but he doesn't have what they would consider, at least the judges consider, a classic look. He has more of a bodybuilder look, which is fine because George actually has to suck down quite a bit to make that classic physique class. And I think he loses a little bit something when he does that. It'll be interesting now if he can come in 10 pounds heavier in the 212 division, what he will do against these guys. I asked Steve Weinberger that very question, and he felt that he might even be able to win the Olympia. He might have won it this year. Certainly next year with 10 pounds added on his physique, he's got to be way more dangerous. Now, George's coach, Justin Miller, and I are very good friends. We've been friends for over 25 years now, and Justin's always sending me updates. And Justin and I go back and forth, friendly debate. And I said, I have a feeling that George is not going to win the Olympia. And Justin didn't, agree with me, obviously. He wanted to bet me, which I should have bet him. We should have bet Justin. And it was just that I didn't think that they were going to give it to him because of this very argument that we have right now. What is classic? So I think now with a clear goal in mind that Justin and George are going to do some serious damage next year. If George comes in, George has got to come in probably the same weight and he'd be just as good, but even 3 or 4 pounds bigger is going to make a huge difference on his frame, because he doesn't have any gaps in his physique. And for a bodybuilder, he doesn't really need any improvements from what he's got. He's got probably one of the best backs in 212, classic or open right now. So what do you got to do? Show up, and just don't try to come in too big and sacrifice that amazing conditioning. So George on his Instagram put up the big 212 sign, indicating to everyone he will be switching to 212 next year. Will we see him at the Arnold Classic? I don't know. I think we should. Although there is no 212 at the Arnold Classic. Ha ha. I have a feeling we'll probably see George at the New York Pro for his debut, and then obviously on to the Olympia. Now, I asked Steve Weinberger, if Flex Lewis was qualified because he was an Olympia champ to do the Open Mr. Olympia, and he said he thought he had to requalify again. So I'm assuming that George probably has to do a show in the 212 to qualify for that 212 Olympia. New York Pro is an obvious choice. That's his backyard. It's probably the next biggest show behind the Arnold. The Arnold doesn't have the 212 division anymore. I'm sure we're going to see George in New York and then obviously on to the Olympia. So that's going to be super exciting for next year. A lot of people were concerned that maybe the 212 class was lacking in talent. Adding George to that mix and maybe even a Keon Pearson to that mix will certainly boost the ratings up and the excitement level of the 212 division. So that's the breaking news. George Peterson is switching to 212, and next year will be a very exciting year in that division. I'm Dave Palumbo with an RX Muscle News Update.